Yo guys, Jinx here, and today I'm bringing you guys a Frost DK PvP guide. So first of all, talents. There's a couple of choices here. You can choose between Isotals and Inexcusable Assault. Inexcusable Assault just gives you more burst. This one gives you more auto attack speed, so that would mean you get more procs. But the proc chance seems to be very, very low. About 1 every 8 auto attacks or so. I'm sitting there like auto attacking the dummy. So it doesn't seem that useful, honestly. Here, I like murders and efficiency just because when I'm going for pillar, like if you do it in the start of the game, obviously you'll be fine on runes. But if you do it like while you have, only 2 runes or something, this is gonna help you a lot. It's just gonna make sure that you can always obliterate while you're doing, because every obliterate is gonna be a crit then. Blinding sheet, you can play asphyxiate. This is mostly to set up, so you would CC, and then you would pop some of your cooldowns, and then you stun, or your teammate will stun them for you. You can play asphyxiate where you and your teammate, like if you're playing the warrior, you can both stun the targets. You can group the targets together, and then both of you stun them, and then you can get your full value of chill streak. So that works as well. Avalanche and Frozen Poles, like you're never gonna press Frost Sight in PvP. So Frozen Poles, it does more damage, but it's not as bursty. And in your burst, you're gonna get at least 3 rhymes, so that's 1.5k damage, and that would take this 15 seconds to do. So yeah, it's just more bursty. That's why mostly. Also, like, this can break CC more or less if you just accidentally walk in front of people with less runes. Next here, though, we have Wraithwalk, Permafrost, and Death Pact. Permafrost just sucks in PvP, not gonna lie. Like, it just doesn't... The shield just doesn't do anything. It might be okay. Death Pact is because of MS effect and other, reduced healing stuff. It's just really, really bad. I would not say you would ever play this. I might be wrong at one point where you can like do something with it, but Wraithwalk is really nice. Getting out of roots, both hunter roots and mage roots don't really break that fast in damage, so they're just really nice. Here you have a very interesting choice because Glazing Advance gives you Razor Eyes, and you can play Razor Eyes on your weapon, but Fallen Crusader is a little bit better. But Glacial Advance, you can stack up your Razor Eyes, so you can get 15% increased frost damage, which obviously your Obliterate does frost damage. Frost Strike does frost damage. It's mainly for your Chill Streak and your Obliterate, just to do more damage, right? It takes a long time to stack up though, so 5 stacks, 6-second cooldown, 30 seconds. So in the opener you wouldn't get this. You can get it probably on 1 target on your second go with... or you can just hold your cooldowns, but like it doesn't seem like you're gonna be able to hold your cooldowns now. Gathering Storm is good. This one is kind of useless in PvP in my opinion. It just doesn't do much because your main damage comes from Obliterate. But Gathering Storm, basically, while you're doing your burst rotation, what happens is that Remorseless Winter, you want to press it, but I'm not entirely sure if you want to press it because it feels awkward. Because usually what you do is that you grip, you blind, you pop Remorseless Winter and Power Weapon, and then you're gonna use like your Abomination Limb, which is gonna give you Howling Blast, Rhyme proc, and then you're gonna Pillar of Frost before that, and then you're gonna Howling Blast, and you're gonna Chill Streak before you do that again. Like Remorseless Winter does about 100 damage on the initial tick with no cooldowns up, but when you start popping cooldowns and you start getting stacks, it starts ticking for 500 each. Which is a decent amount of damage. It ends up doing about 6k damage over the duration of 15 seconds. It's just what you get it to, because you're gonna, spend around 10 runes pressing Obliterate in that time. So it is nice, but it's not the end of the world. It's only about 4k damage that you lose, and that 4k damage you can easily gain way higher by pressing Glacial Advance. The problem is just that you have to wait 30 seconds to get like the full effect of it. But just like having 1 or 2 stacks is still 6% increased frost damage, and then you don't have to press a global for Hermosa's Winter. But the thing is that they're blinded, and their Hermosa's Winter is not going to break it. It does less damage than your Frost Fever dot, basically. Now for the last one here, Obliteration is the only choice in PvP. Breath is dead, Ice Cap is dead completely. This is the main reason why Frost is good in PvP now, or two-handed Frost is good in PvP now. And basically it's, you know, you pop Pillar of Frost, it has no global, same with Empowering Weapon. So you would just pop Abomination Limb, Pillar of Frost, Howling Blast, and then Obliterate, and then Frost Strike, or Howling Blast if you got a proc from the Obliterate, and then Obliterate again, etc, etc. And as you guys can see, it lasts for 12 seconds. So 12 seconds, you're gonna get 6 to 7, depending on how good you are at doing it. It's not that big a deal. You're probably gonna get a proc while you in those 12 seconds as well, towards the end or the middle of it. It's a bit iffy, like if you want to min-max super hard, because you know there's so much to pay attention in PvP. But you know, it is possible to get a little bit of extra there. Now for PvP talents, this is like the most damage kind of thing with Necrotic Aura and Chill Streak. Some comps you might not want Chill Streak, versus some comps you might not want it because it's just too hard to set up, and you don't need it anymore because Obliterate Bursting is enough, actually, which is really nice. It just makes the playstyle way better. PvP talents though, like if you're playing in stuff you need Anti-Magic Zone increase, you'll play that obviously, like versus RMP or something. The problem is that they still haven't fixed it, so it doesn't work for your teammates, mate. Please, Blizzard, fix it. Delirium is really nice versus mages, rogues. It's actually decent now because Sub-Roy has 2 Shadow Steps and it just fucks his Shadow Step up. But they do have Cloak and Freedom Sprint and stuff like that to, like, you know, move more. If Paladin isn't meta, Delirium versus Monks, Windwalkers, you know, Mischievers, etc. is going to be really good. It's not really good versus like stuff like Resto Shaman, DK, I don't know. That's about it, really. Resto Shaman, DK, Priest. It's awful against those. So, and Warlocks. But now Warlocks have Teleport again. So it does increase its cooldown on Teleport. So it might be better now versus Warlocks as well. But yeah, if you just want to do max damage, then play this. I think Heartstop Aura is the best. But, you know, if the game lasts for 2 minutes, then Heartstop Aura might not do anything. And it might just be better to, like, play something else. I know Death Shield is pretty decent, but it's clunky because it's a little bit bugged. I don't know if this dummy is immune. It is. So basically, if you change the device and you change the device again, it removes the slow effect completely. You have to reapply the slow effect. You have to change the device 3 times to get the root and the slow, which is kind of annoying. It's nice with Hermosa's Winter though, but that's it. Anyway, that's that for the talents. I'm gonna go into rotation and stuff now. Okay, so the Frost DK PvP rotation. Now, the best rotation, the burstiest rotation you can do is simply gripping, you know. These targets are obviously immune to grip, etc. But like you would grip it, you would double blind them, then you would Hermosa's Winter, and then you would pop Abomination Limb, and then your Windwalker or whatever would stun them. Abomination Limb shouldn't break it on the first take. And then you would Chill Streak the next global. And then, obviously, Empowering Weapon, Pillar of Frost, Howling Blast, Obliterate, you know, Frost Strike, Obliterate. And if you got a Rhyme proc again, use Howling Blast. And then if not, use Frost Strike. And then, that's your burst done right there. That's your entire burst. You know, it's mostly come from Obliterate. The rest comes from Howling Blast or Frost Strike, as well as Abomination Limb, Hermosa's Winter, and Chill Streak. So Chill Streak will do about 20k damage, you know. Obliterate, you'll do about 30k, and then Frost Fever and, you know, stuff like that. The damage comes from a lot of things, but as long as you get the Obliterate, Frost Strike, / Howling Blast, Obliterate, stuff should die. And Abomination Limbs to keep them together. Pressing Frost Wyvern though is kind of problematic because obviously you guys can see if I press it right here, it does, you know, 6.5k to a dummy. It's nerfed by over half. It only does 2k in PvP. So it does less. It does more than a normal Frost Strike. It does more than a normal Obliterate. So it's stronger than all your abilities when they're not empowered. When Howling Blast is empowered, it does a little bit less. Howling Blast when it's empowered does about 1.6k. Obliterate does about 3.5 without all your cooldowns, and with cooldowns it can do up to like 6 to 7, 8k depending on how much mastery you have. So when you want to press Frost Run is basically after you are done bursting. So if you don't have any more Obliterates that you can get, so if your Pillar of Frost is gone and you can't force another Obliterate crit, Frost Runner will be your highest burst damage if you're about to kill someone. But yeah, that is the main burst you'll do. Okay, so for the other burst, so basically the second burst you do is without your unused trinket, your Abomination Limb, and Empowering Weapon. All you're going to be able to press is Pillar of Frost and Chill Streak, and Blind. So you're going to grip Blind, Chill Streak, Pillar, Howling Blast, or Frost Strike, and then, have Ramosa's Winter up in the Blind. Usually in the Blind, that's when you would pop Empowering Weapon and Ramosa's Winter. That was generally the tactic in BFA. Empowering Weapon is not on global anymore, same with Pillar of Frost. So it feels a lot better, a lot smoother. But, Ramosa's Winter is still on global and it feels a bit clunky because the damage it does is kind of negligible unless you're spamming Obliterate with it. So yeah, let me just show you guys how it looks like. So obviously you grip, you blind, you Ramosa's Winter, you Pillar, you Howling Blast, and then you Obliterate, and then the same thing happens again. So as you guys can see, it's really important to make sure that you don't get fucked over. Like every time you press Obliterate and you get a proc, you don't want to waste it. The entire Pillar of Frost duration, you want to not waste it. A lot of the weaknesses with Frost DK is that if you get disarmed, if you get stunned, or anything on your Pillar, you're fucked. You're not going to do any damage for an entire minute, and it's really, really fucking annoying. So it's really important that, there's some sort of CC, or you're waiting a little bit. You have, monks on your team or demon hunters on your team that can AoE stun, so they make sure that you can get your combo off well. But I'm guessing Frost DK TSG is also going to be fine, but mostly it's going to be played with Windwalkers and demon hunters or Missievers or something. Like, need something with AoE stun or AoE CC. Okay, so I just wanted lastly to give you guys a couple of new tips and tricks that is in the Frost DK's arsenal now. The biggest thing is obviously you have Lichborn now. You can sack your pet as well, and you can summon the pet. Now you cannot control the pet when you summon it. So as you guys can see, when I summon it, I'm not in combat. It's not going to do anything. The second I get in combat, it's just going to leap and it's going to stun. You guys might not be able to see it, but yeah, it does stun the target here. It does no damage obviously, but it does a decent amount of damage, and it's off global. So for some reason, Blizzard decided that Frost DK and Blood DK summon pet is now off global. And you guys can see it does a bit of damage, and it lasts for an entire minute. Now, if you do pop it, and the entire duration ends, or it dies, you cannot sack it anymore. So you basically lose this defensive cooldown here. Now, the damage it does, though, over a minute, seems to be about 8k. And then also you can sack it towards the end of it to do another 1k damage. Now, while you're in the damage rotation, the starter damage rotation, when you pop Abomination Limb, your unused trinket, Empowering Weapon, everything, you can also summon that pet without being on global. There's a lot of buttons to press on your cooldowns, not gonna lie. The rotation for popping your cooldowns, for me at least, feels very, very clunky because I'm not used to it yet. But that could, make or break it. But you need to be a little bit careful when you summon it. If you want to stun the target after, when you pillar when you blind the targets, you want your Windwalker or whatever to stun the targets, and you don't want your pet to be stunning them before they do. Because if it does that, then it'll be on DR, and that's gonna help the enemy more than it's gonna help you. So just make sure that you press it around the same time as the leg sweep happens or the AoE stun happens. And then it can be nice that it will just like interrupt the cast after the stun. You gotta like take in consideration that it takes about 3 to 4 seconds before it starts doing damage and start moving, as that has a summon for some fucking reason. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoy that, and yeah, peace.